Italy is an incredibly rich civilization, rich in terms of their features, but also due to their one-of-a-kind economic boom, which works in a way that's never been seen in this game before. They have elements from the British and India and are strong on water with their unique galleass and unique battleship and many naval cards. They also have strong military peaks on land in H2 with their unique pavissiers and papal units. The Italians are also extremely strong in H4 with their unique skirmishers and artillery units. However, Italy's economic bonus is by far their main feat, with earlier technologies and free villages just being the start. Your starting crates as the Italians include 600 food and 2 crates of 100 wood. In the beginning, you have 3 standard villagers, 1 architect and 1 standard explorer. One of Italy's civilization bonuses starts during the very first seconds of a game with the architect. He is a unique Italian unit that is trainable in Age 1 and can construct any available building for free at the cost of a longer build time. Again, he can construct walls, houses, mills, lombards, and so on, all for free but takes longer to build them. A common Age 1 structure the architect could build for free would be a house and would take him 80 seconds to build for no resource cost. In comparison, a single standard villager would need 10 seconds to build a house before 100 would cost. Another example would be a 600 wood estate in Age 3, which would take a regular villager 20 seconds to build, but an architect for no cost would need 300 seconds to build it. It's important to know that if you have more than one architect building a structure, the free structure will build faster, with the architect's building speed stacking somewhat diminishingly. The architect requires 2 population and has a base build limit of 5 with a 200 coin cost. He has a 35-second training period and even more additional abilities. The architect is an effective builder. He builds every building you've paid for twice as fast, meaning you could, for example, place a house foundation with a regular villager, but instead of building it with that villager, you could finish building it with your architect at twice the speed. His faster building effects can also be applied while he constructs a free building. After placing a structure with the architect, you have the option to pay a fraction of the building's original cost and speed up/restore the construction speed of the architect, and also allow villagers to help build it too, which wasn't possible before. The more time an architect has spent on a building, the less resources it will cost to speed up its production. One last thing to mention in regards to the architect is that he can gather wood. He gathers wood at the same rate as a regular Italian villager, but cannot gather any other resource, and also cannot pick up treasures or resource crates. His wood gathering rates, train speed, and cost can be improved with home city cards, and he is also affected by other villager upgrades, such as the gangster upgrade or the grey coat technology, researchable at the marketplace. Speaking of the marketplace, it's time to take a look at Italy's second civilization bonus. Italy will receive a single villager for every technology they research. This includes marketplace technologies, military upgrades, native and trade post upgrades, and more. It's important to note that Italy is also able to research various technologies much sooner than other civilizations. As the Italians, you therefore also do not have a 3 villager shipment, but in its place, you have valuable explorer upgrade cards like Machiavellianism that allow you to pick up treasures faster, or the Marco Polo Voyages card that provides double loot for all treasures. You also have the Capitalism coin trickle card and a single Lombard you could send in Age 1. So what exactly is a Lombard? A Lombard is a unique Age 1 structure for the Italians. In its description, it's described as an exchange office where you can convert resources over time at favorable rates and also train mercenaries that are supposedly as shady as the Lombard's business itself. Despite the Italian Lombard's tainted reputation, in this game, this 100 wood, 100 coin bank/saloon will allow you to invest 300 of any resource up to a maximum of 1,500 each and receive a favorable trickle in exchange. So for example, as the Italians, if you invest 300 food into the Lombard, you will receive a 1 wood per second and 1 coin per second trickle for 150 seconds, which would leave you with 150 coin and 150 wood for your 300 invested food after the trickle duration has passed. Seeing as coin and wood are both much slower gathered resources, it's a good deal. If you invest 300 wood, you'll gain a 1 coin and 1.50 food per second trickle that in the end will leave you with 225 food and 150 coin extra after the 150 second trickle duration. 300 coin will exchange into 225 food and 150 wood at a 1 wood and 1.50 food trickle per second. Investing more resources into the Lombard will not increase the trickle amount and only extend the trickle duration. The Lombard has a base build limit of 5 and can be upgraded through cards. One feature of the Lombard is that when resources are invested into a single Lombard, all constructed Lombards will get the same trickle, and when a Lombard gets built during an active trickle, it will also receive the remaining duration of that trickle. Now that we've covered Italy's insanely packed Age 1, let's check out Italy's Age 2. As for aging to the second age, your age up options resemble those of the British civilization, with most of them being viable. As the last unique building for Italy, we have the Basilica. The Basilica has a 1 XP per second trickle rate and is a higher church that can accept shipments. It has most of its technologies already unlocked for research due to Italy's known early tech advantage. The Basilica has an aura that allows nearby buildings to construct 30% faster, but the Basilica's main feature is its unique papal shipment ability. Starting in H2, you are able to spend resources at the Basilica on unique infinite unit shipments. These shipments will be queued just like a regular home city card, but will not expend a shipment and therefore also do not require XP. Some of the units you can send include 3 priests for 300 total resources. Priests in batches of 3 are cheaper for the Italians opposed to other civilizations, but they don't have any additional stats and are much like regular priests. Another shipment at the Basilica would be the 7 Papal Guards in H2 for 900 total resources. In history, the Swiss Papal Guards are known to have been the cornerstone of keeping the Pope's safety. They have more hit points and less damage with extra multipliers against cavalry when compared to halberdiers, but they upgrade automatically and have unique abilities. One of the abilities is the Deflect ability, which allows them to absorb some of the damage from nearby units. The Deflect ability works like this. If one halberdier were to take 12 damage from a ball, for example, the damage taken would equally spread to all the nearby Papal units with the Deflect ability. So what would have been 12 direct damage to a single halberdier now could potentially turn into just 2 damage taken by the halberdier, with the additional 10 damage being absorbed and spread equally to all surrounding deflecting units. Absorbing units also receive back their hit points after the damage has been deflected. The Swiss Papal Guards also have a charged halberd attack. With this charge ability, they use their long halberds to hook onto enemies, in addition to all of their previous mentioned stats. With this charge ability, they gain an extra 5 range, making them more effective at snaring enemy units in melee. Another one of the many unit types you can send from the Basilica in H2 are the Papal Lances. They can also absorb damage and are incredibly effective against infantry units. In H2, you have a standard barracks, a stable, and an artillery foundry, which you can build as your military production buildings. Your first trainable unit at the barracks is called a Pavessia and is classed as a crossbow unit that gains additional stats based on different stances. Similar to the Desert Warrior for Hauser, Pavessias have 20 hit points more than an average crossbowman with the same multipliers and flexible resistances. They have a 20 range resist in range mode, but an admirable melee resist when switched to melee mode. The Pavessias receive 1 additional range as well as increased stats to their H3 barracks upgrade. However, they can only be upgraded 1 single time at the barracks. They can gain an additional 2 range together with more damage, resistance, and even more hit points to their H3 home city combat cards. Next to the unique crossbows, Italy can train standard pikes and standard musketeers at the barracks in H2. They can train standard halberdiers in H3, and in H4 they have the Bersagliere. This unit quickly fills the much needed skirmisher position for the Italians. They have the same damage and range as a regular skirmisher, but with more movement speed, which is pretty huge. But pretty much everywhere else, they have slightly worse stats. It doesn't seem to be a big issue though, because the Bersagliere have an incredible ability. It's called the Bugle Call. Each Bersagliere will stun either one cavalry or infantry unit for approximately 2 to 3 seconds after each unit they defeat with a 0-second cooldown. The Bugle Call will also provide a temporary speed bonus to all allied units when sounded. The Bersagliere also automatically gain their H4 upgrade when they're unlocked in H4. At the stable, you can train regular dragoons and hussars, which work like the ones seen for other European civilizations. When you construct an artillery foundry, you have the option to train regular grenadiers, similar to, for example, the British. At the dock, for the Italians, you have access to their one unique ship called the Galleass. It replaces the Galleon for Italy and is the only ship in the game to have a roundel attack. It has more range than the Galleon and can shoot from way better angles due to its roundel attack. Not only that, but it also has a roundel broadside attack, which will fire all of the Galleass's cannons simultaneously. The Galleass is also equipped with a ram attack, able to ram enemy ships with 350 damage per hit. As for cards in H2, the Italians do not have a 5 villager shipment, but instead have cards like Monte di Pita that ships a Lombard with 700 coin already invested into it. 700 coin in a Lombard is the equivalent to 525 food and 350 wood, which if you consider the fact that you also get a 200 resource value Lombard on top of that, makes this card seem really good, especially if you combine it with your H2 Lombard plus settler age up. The unique church card for the Italians will have technologies able to be researched that allow an additional basilica to be built at the cost of a 20% longer construction time. Another researchable tech through the advanced church card will grant you 15 revolutionaries and 1 additional revolutionary for each settler you have lost so far, up to 25 extra. The last tech will give you 10 carabinieri, which are carbine cavalry, and will improve training and range attack speed of dragoons by -10%. Aside from Italy's unique features mentioned in the beginning, everything in Age 2 is the same as most other European civilizations. Let's head to Age 3. The Italians' Age 3 age-up options are slightly more unique, with some of them being more familiar than others. It's important to add that the Italians do not have a fast age-up option by default. As the Italians, you have access to the gondolas card that grant a fishing boat for every technology you research, in addition to the villager you already receive. The Italians have a 2 falconer shipment in Age 3 and a very large selection of naval upgrade cards, but technically aren't able to train any other light range infantry next to the Pavesiers until Age 4. They do, however, have a very large number of mercenary shipments to their disposal starting from Age 2. These shipments include multiple types of effective mercenary skirmisher units, and they also have skirmisher unit shipments from their church. It's important to note that most of these sendable skirmishers are also specifically good at countering other skirmishers above all else, temporarily giving Italy access to some better skirmishers in the game, despite not being able to train a single one of them. Let's move on to Age 4. In Age 4, your age-up options will look a little something like this. Some age-ups may seem similar to Hauser's age-up options, with the 1000 XP Pope age-up being the most attractive. In Age 4, you get access to the Bersaglieri from the barracks as we mentioned before, but you also have access to the unique Papal Bombards, either through shipments, rewards, or trainable at your single available factory. A similar bombard unit compared to the Ottoman bombards, the Papal Bombard does less damage but has more hit points, which is great in combination with their passive deflect ability that they have. Unique cards for Italy include the Age 4 Holy League, which grants your battleships the deflect ability, making it one of the first ships in the game to be able to absorb damage for others passively, or a more notable card named Guardia di Finanza will grant you coin for every unit you have defeated so far in the game. And another unique card is called the Papal Arsenal that gives all your Papal units more charged abilities. And lastly, the Age 1 Advanced Politicians card, which gives you additional loot for every age up and eventually will allow you to have access to the Da Vinci tank with your Age 5 Inventor age up option. I have a full video dedicated to the Da Vinci tank if you'd like to know more. Some of your revolt options include United States, Brazil, or Argentina, and more. Finally, we reach Age 5, with these being some of your Age 5 options. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Italy. Overall, Italy seems to be a civilization that enjoys extended age gameplay due to their lucrative economic and military bonuses. They have a lot of momentum potential with their cards, but due to their civilization design and no default fast H3 options, they most likely often have to make sacrifices in order to successfully progress to the later ages. They have top tier water capabilities and have strong military peaks in H2 and H4, which works very well with their large economy. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Thank you all for your support on the last videos. We're just getting started. There are a lot of great videos coming in the next few days and weeks. Be sure to check out my community tab for all updates and chat, and I'll see you all in the next one.